In episode 28, Secure E-commerce pages and third-party scripts thoroughly, we focus on hardened payment pages that can withstand skimming, injection, and tampering. The Payment Card Industry Professional (PCIP) exam looks for your ability to recognize how controls work together to keep web payment environments verifiable and resilient. E-commerce breaches often exploit weak boundaries between merchant code, third-party scripts, and hosted payment fields. The assessor's role is not to write the code, but to determine whether evidence proves the organization can prevent, detect, and respond to tampering. Every requirement in the Payment Card Industry Data Security Standard (PCI DSS) touches these pages indirectly through encryption, integrity, access control, or monitoring. By the end of this episode, you should be able to describe the technical and governance artifacts that demonstrate hardened payment flows and controlled dependencies across all responsible parties. Start by inventorying every path through which payment information travels. Web checkout designs vary. Some merchants use hosted fields provided by the gateway, others redirect users to an external payment domain, some embed iframes, and a few still operate direct post models where scripts under merchant control send data to the processor. Each model defines scope differently under PCI DSS. Hosted and redirect models remove cardholder data from the merchant environment, while direct post retains full exposure. The assessor expects diagrams, sample pages, and request traces showing where sensitive fields are captured and which system receives them first. The PCIP exam will test whether you can match architecture type to scope. Knowing these distinctions lets you judge whether subsequent controls, encryption, script integrity, and monitoring fit the design and whether evidence supports the organization's scope claim. Script management sits at the center of e-commerce assurance. Every external library or plugin adds a potential attack vector, so an allow list of approved domains, sub-resource integrity hashes, and pinned versions becomes mandatory. Allow listing stops surprise inclusions. Integrity hashes confirm fetched files have not changed. Version pinning prevents silent updates. The assessor looks for build logs or manifests that record each hash, and for browser responses that include matching attributes. When scripts change, an alert or block should appear within minutes. Evidence might include failed load reports that triggered investigations and subsequent approvals for new versions. The PCIP exam often frames this as which control would have stopped a JavaScript skimming attack, and the precise answer is integrity and version control, not generic malware scanning. Content Security Policy (CSP) strengthens browser-side discipline. A properly configured CSP restricts where scripts, images, and frames may originate and forbids inline or dynamically generated code. Payment pages should list only trusted domains, gateway, analytics partner if approved, and the merchant's own static content server. Inline snippets must be replaced with reference scripts bearing integrity attributes. Assessors review HTTP headers, configuration files, and CSP violation logs to verify enforcement rather than mere declaration. Consistent timestamps and alert tickets from those violation logs serve as proof. In the exam context, always pair CSP with monitoring. Policies that block unknown sources but never report breaches of that policy are invisible failures. Continuous monitoring gives life to static controls. Automated scanners or integrity agents should review live checkout pages, comparing current code to a known good baseline and alerting on unexpected document object model (DOM), beacon calls, or network requests. Logs of these scans must include who reviewed alerts and what actions were taken. Assessors check retention schedules, time synchronization, and access controls for the monitoring platform itself. They also confirm that alerts route to ticketing systems with closure notes. The exam focuses on the principle of evidence of operation. You must show that monitoring produces actionable data tied to real reviews, not just screenshots of dashboards. Administrative portals and content management systems, CMS, that publish checkout content need the same rigor as payment code. Strong authentication with multi-factor enforcement, role separation between content editors and system administrators, and prompt patching of all plugins reduce indirect risk. A single compromised CMS account can undo every other control by inserting hostile code. The assessor verifies configuration exports showing MFA rules, last patch dates, and user rosters. On the PCIP exam, remember that platform maintenance is part of payment page security. Ignoring the update cycle of web infrastructure equals ignoring firewall patching in network scope. Separate build pipelines for public assets keep integrity intact between developers and customers. Source repositories should generate signed artifacts whose hashes appear in release notes and CSP entries. Public pipelines must never handle credentials or configuration data used inside the cardholder data environment. Evidence comes from build logs, signature verification reports, and approval tickets. Assessors ensure that rollbacks are documented and that only verified artifacts are deployed to content delivery networks, CDNs. The exam may ask which evidence best demonstrates code release integrity. The correct answer will be signed artifact records tied to version control, not verbal assurances. Transport Layer Security, TLS, remains the baseline for trust. Every path browser to gateway, internal to processor, must use strong encryption, current certificates, and approved cipher suites. Mixed content undermines encryption by loading unsecure resources, so detection tools must flag any unencrypted request on a secure page. Assessors request scan reports showing A-grade configurations, expiry monitoring alerts, and renewal procedures with dates and responsible parties. In testing scenarios, they confirm that HTTP Strict Transport Security, HSTS, is active and that protocol downgrade attempts fail. The PCIP examiner expects you to connect this to requirement 4 of the standard: encrypt transmission of cardholder data across open networks with provable assurance. Evidence collection underpins credibility. Artifacts should include CSP violation logs, sub-resource integrity manifests, configuration exports, monitoring alerts, and change management approvals with timestamps and sign-offs. Each item needs context, a note describing what control it proves, who reviewed it, and when. Organized evidence allows assessors to test continuity rather than completeness. They can pick any date and see that the control was operating then. The exam will reward answers that emphasize structured evidence storage over ad hoc screenshots, because organization proves the control's reliability. Testing tamper scenarios closes the assurance loop. Teams should simulate script replacement or policy removal, confirm that monitoring fires alerts, and document rollback steps with timing metrics. Each test should produce a report detailing scenario, detection interval, response steps, and validation of restoration. Assessors look for frequency, not perfection. Annual drills are too slow for dynamic web environments. On the exam, credible assurance equates to tested assurance. The only way to know a control works is to watch it fail safely and recover. Third-party coordination ensures that control strength persists beyond merchant walls. Contracts and operational playbooks must outline who hosts scripts, who manages CDN caching, and who holds authority to revoke compromised files. Rapid revocation procedures with verified contacts and response time targets belong in these documents. Assessors verify vendor attestations, ticket examples, and evidence of previous drills. For the PCI test, assume that outsourced functions do not outsource accountability. The merchant must hold evidence that the provider fulfills its role. Shared responsibility mapping ties all of this together. The documentation should clearly state which party, merchant, host, payment gateway, analytics provider, owns encryption, script integrity, CSP maintenance, and monitoring. Each assignment should include the evidence type expected. For example, the gateway provides attestation letters. The merchant maintains alert logs. The host supplies configuration exports. Assessors trace accountability during reviews. Absence of clear mapping is treated as a gap. Exam scenarios often ask how to evaluate third-party assurance, and the right answer is always by obtaining written responsibilities plus verifiable artifacts from each side. To sustain protection, formalize repetition. Create a payment page hardening checklist that lists every control: architecture verification, script inventory, CSP validation, transport layer checks, monitoring review, administrative patching, and evidence collection. Schedule weekly integrity scans, track completion in tickets, and summarize findings in quarterly governance reports. Small, predictable cycles build trust far more effectively than large annual audits. Close the loop each time by fixing drift immediately and updating the evidence pack. On the PCIP exam, this habit, the conversion of static compliance into living assurance, is the mark of maturity. When e-commerce pages stay hardened by routine, attacks lose their easiest path, and assessors gain the proof they need to declare the environment controlled and resilient. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit baremetalcyber.com.